It's almost dealing with, making sure egos and different things, and as much of truly coaching, it might be a little bit different at times. Where this group is, I think there's a lot of talent. There's tons of talent. We're not short on talent, but it's going to be one of them guys, them groups that you love to coach because they got something to prove. They got a chip on their shoulder. They're not Joey Bosa, they're not Von Bell, they're not Darren Lee, but they're really, really, really good, and we just haven't proven it yet. And those are the kind of groups, really, I'll be honest with you, that are really exciting to coach.
Luke, you talked about Darren 2 years ago. He came out, you guys gave him first rep in spring practice based on what you guys said then on winter conditioning. How wide was the margin between him and Chris Worley then, and how was it over the last 2 years?
Again, he started to separate himself much more Darren did. And it wasn't really that big. Obviously from the get-go, the guys were very similar in age. And it just became something that became a little bit more comfortable. And obviously Darren, with his abilities, being a young guy, it didn't give Chris as many opportunities. So the great thing about it is, like I said, just like you will look at this basketball tournament here that's going to start up, not mean the Big Ten one, but even the NCAA one, and those teams that got upperclassmen. Those are the teams that you better worry about, you better watch. And I think that's the same thing we can say about this group. You're going to have a guy like Chris Worley that you're going to depend a lot on. Well, he hasn't played a lot. Everybody doesn't know him. No. But those guys that are truly 4 years of investment in this program and what they've done and what they've seen, that experience is invaluable.
Is there a difference between their style of play and
everybody has a little bit different style play. Obviously, Darren's is unique in his own right. Chris will have his strengths that aren't the same, and every guy has a little bit difference. And the reality for Chris is he's got to focus on being the best version of himself, and focus on his strengths. Too often, when you're playing with a great player, even like the guys in the D-line room, they got Joey Bosa. They can't be focused and covet what their neighbor has. They forget to be grateful for all the gifts and the blessings that they've got, and focusing on what you got. So sometimes you lose one of those great players, and it gives another guys an opportunity to shine and make them realize that they got a lot of gifts too.
Does Darren owe you a present or something when he signs his first big contract? Like he had a Twitter thing the other week. He was talking about just everything you've done for him, and we know the role you played in getting him here. I don't know if Darren Lee would be where he is if it wasn't for
No, you know what? That's the beautiful thing. It's just like you say for your own kids. Someday, my kids don't owe me anything. You know what they owe me? They owe us to do what it is that we asked them to do. To be the example, to continuing to grow with the things that they've done, and that's all that you really want. I mean, the great thing about this is we're not a credit-seeking group. I've never been a credit-seeking guy, and that's what I grabbed Joshua and Darren in there the other day and said, hey, I'm not calling. I haven't been calling you, and I'm not talking. I mean, I'm here for you. And when you got great friends, when you got a great relationship, you can be away from somebody for a year or two, and they always know that you care, and they always know you're there for them. And to me, that's the biggest thing, is that's the relationship that you built. And I'm not worried about credit-seeking or blame-oriented, but there's a true bond that's built there.
I know you guys have Pro Day every year, but how big of a deal is tomorrow to have this many guys? I mean, what does it mean to the program? Guys that are still here to see that. How valuable is it?
It's huge. I mean, because someone was just asking, it's the biggest job interview these kids will ever do. I mean, it really is. Now, I'm not saying that maybe someday they'll have a big one too, or the CEO job interview. But the reality is that job interview is probably going to be amongst 10 board members. This is a job interview that's going to be public, just like the combine. This is a job interview in front of, I don't know, 400 people, and everybody's critiquing every little thing that you do. Imagine that. Just try to picture yourself having a job interview live on TV or in front of 600 people that are critiquing whether you itched your nose, scratched your nose, picked your nose, I mean, whatever it is you did, whether you stepped to your left foot or your right foot. I mean, you're talking about a nerve-wracking and quite an experience.